Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our Spring Home Buying Forum. Today is day 4. It's our last day. We will be talking about the affordable path to home ownership. We really appreciate you being here. I'm Dominique Veldur. I am the Community Engagement Specialist, and joining me is Ryan Douglas. He'll be on camera answering questions as well as working behind the scenes. I'll tell you a little bit about Ryan. Ryan has been an employee at here at HUECU for the past 8 years. His dedicated to providing excellent service to our members. In 2020, Ryan joined HUECU's mortgage department, where he has continued to provide this excellent service to the members of the Harvard community as they achieve their home ownership. He enjoys taking time to educate and work with his members closely to make the mortgage process and route to becoming a homeowner very seamless. Before we get started, I wanted to remind you that we are reducing the background noises, and also please use the Q&A feature. Ask all the questions you want. It's a lot of information, and we will also we're recording this session. So if you miss a portion of it, go on our YouTube channel at My HUECU, as well as the other ones from all week long. And also we have a survey at the end. So please do take that survey and let us know how we did. And of course, you can't come here and not walk away with anything. We have prizes for you, lots of swag, HUECU swag. So because you're here today participating, we'll pick your names out and then I'll send you an email. So it's not spam. So if you get an email from me, it's me telling you that you've won. So look forward to that. A little bit about the credit union. We're not for profit. We operate just like a bank. We have checking, savings, CDs, loans, and you can access us anywhere, online, in person. We have lots of different branches, and we really exist here for you. And speaking of branches, we have a new branch that opened up a few months ago. It's in the LMA area, which is a Longwood medical area, right underneath the Joslin Diabetes Center near the Beth Israel West Campus. So if you're in that area, please stop by. Just say hi. We'd love to see your beautiful faces. And Ryan's going to talk about what we've been doing all week.
Thanks, Dominique. Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us again on day 4 here. So today we'll be going over the affordable path to home ownership. We have some great panelists today. We're going to go over a ton of information. Before we get started, Dominique, I just want to thank you for all your help. You know, we couldn't have done it without you this week. So on behalf of the mortgage department, thank you so much.
And thank you for being my partner in crime.
Oh, wouldn't have it any other way. Thank you. Perfect. So Dominique, if you could just introduce our presenters today. Everybody, I'll be in the Q&A answering your questions as they come in, and I'll be back around. Thank you.
All right. And first, we'll talk about Sharon Cummings. She's our senior mortgage loan originator. She's been here. She has 33 years experience in the credit union industry and over 15 years in the mortgage area. Sharon brings a wealth of knowledge and expertise to the table. Her dedication to providing top-notch service and deep understanding of the mortgage loan process has earned her a reputation as a trusted and reliable professional. And also Helen Laskaris. She's the senior mortgage loan originator. Here we call them MLOs. And Helen has been guiding homeowners at HUECU since 2016, assisting more than 300 members in their journey to becoming homeowners. Helen has a background in credit review and skill in qualifying members successfully. She firmly believes in that homeownership is a key path of wealth creation and enjoys helping people to determine if the time is right to consider purchasing a home, given all factors in a specific person's life. Also joining us is Antonia Finley. Antonia is the first-time home buyer coordinator for the city of Cambridge. She is responsible for the sales of affordable homeownership, resales, lotteries, financial assistance programs, along with one-on-one counseling. She has over 17 years of experience teaching the class and has educated thousands of first-time home buyers. Antonia loves connecting with people and loves the challenge of breaking down complex process so that all first-time home buyers feel empowered. Take it away, guys. But before we get started, I want to also let everyone know the agenda for today. We're going to talk about the market, first-time home buyer program, home ready, resources for low or down payment programs.
Thank you, Dominique. I'm Helen Laskaris, one of the 5 loan officers here. And I first want to talk about what are the benefits of having the credit union on your team. Well, because you have a lot of options for financing when you're looking to obtain a mortgage. One thing we pride ourselves on is personal service. You are going to be working with your loan officer from start to finish, and that loan officer is going to have a full view of your transaction and able to talk to you at any time during that transaction about where you stand. Most lenders, I believe, have a loan originator that's bringing in the business, and then it's moving into a different person to get documents and so on. So there really isn't anybody that has a full picture of what's going on at all times. And we can give you that at the credit union. And I think that's really vital. We have a range of mortgage products, jumbo and conventional products. We don't offer everything that's out there, but we do have knowledge of what's out there. So if you come to us and we don't feel we have what you need, we will act as a resource to assist you in finding that product and maybe make you aware of other products out there. We have competitive rates and first-time home buyer credits. We post our rates on our website every day, so you could monitor mortgage rates if you wanted to at the credit union. The rates you see online are the rates that are available for any qualified member. Most mortgage companies or lenders want to pull your credit right away before they can kind of quote you a rate. So we're unique in that way. That rate is available for every qualified member. We have a digital mortgage process, which we have a new system. So from start to finish, you could do everything digitally, upload documents securely. And in fact, when there's a status change on your application, you're notified by email to log in. We recommend that you check in on your own, but if you don't have time to, you will get prompted to. Another real benefit is in-house loan servicing. So after your loan closes with HUECU, we'll still be collecting payments, collecting principal and interest. You might have private mortgage insurance, real estate taxes, and sometimes there can be issues with that. And we have a fabulous loan servicing team that's very responsive in resolving those issues. I had a customer come in for a home equity product, and when she brought in her first mortgage statement, I noticed that she'd owned her home for 5 years and her value, she shouldn't have had PMI. And I said, why do you still have PMI? And she said the reason is she couldn't get in touch with her servicer. She tried calling and nobody was responding, and she ended up giving up. I had a member that did the same thing. Within a week, his PMI was removed. He reached out to me. I reached out to loan servicing. So that's a really huge benefit. Additionally, we have a portfolio lending capability. So a lot of lenders have an investor, and the investor's guidelines is what they have to follow to make the loan. If something doesn't meet the investor's guideline, that loan can't go through. And we've rescued a lot of loans here at the credit union, but it's much easier if you start out with the portfolio lender because the process is stressful enough for you. You don't want to midstream have to change your lender that might make the seller concerned, et cetera. So we lend our own money. So if something doesn't meet the guidelines exactly, we still have the option to do the loan. So I recommend, that you, use a portfolio lender or a lender with portfolio lending capability. Let's go to the next slide. So let's talk about the market. Since the pandemic, inventory has been very low. There's been a lot more buyers than sellers. What went on in 20 and 21 and the beginning of 2022 with the low rates, every open house you went to, the line was around the block. There were 20 offers going in on each property. Prices were increasing in double digits each year. There were cash offers. There were people waiving their due diligence, buyers not doing inspections, waiving their financing contingency. Basically, the sellers, had complete control of the market. Inventory is still low right now. It's a little better than it was during those times, but it's still low. A lot of people with low mortgage rates aren't looking to sell, or baby boomers are aging in place. There's not enough housing being built to meet the demand. So inventory is still low. Prices, the double-digit increases have subsided. Prices are moderating, I would say. We're starting to see, we even see price cuts at times. We are seeing, bidding wars very small pockets. That's not the norm anymore. The good news is, because of that, there's not as many buyers in the market because of the rates. Rates a year and a half ago, we may have been at 3%. Now our rates are in the mid sixes. The rates have been volatile, but the rates by themselves and the media sensationalizing mortgage rates have gone up, but everybody knows about it, have kept a lot of people on the sidelines. I encourage you not to stay on the sideline for the rate per se, because the silver lining of the higher rate is that now the market is normalizing. You can do an inspection. You can have your financing contingency. You can make an offer for lower than the asking price. You're seeing price reductions. So in that sense, it's a benefit. In a strange way, there's less competition. Projections are that rates are going to come down. I don't know exactly when, because inflation is being a little stubborn, but it's expected that rates are going to go down. So if you bought now, you would always have the opportunity to refinance at a lower rate. None of our products have prepayment penalties, so you would be able to refinance, at a lower rate. The only caveat is we're talking about affordability here. A buyer that barely could qualify for $300 at 3% with a 3% down payment, a first-time home buyer. Now that person wasn't getting any traction in 20 and 21 because they were getting beat out by cash, by overbidders. So they were frustrated. Now their purchasing power has decreased. So you qualified for 300. Now you might be at 240 with these higher rates. However, the price might be coming down. You might have some traction there and be able to get a lower price. If you can afford the payment with the higher rate, I think you should still consider, becoming a homeowner in this market, because there are some benefits. Let's go to the next slide. So we have conventional financing at the credit union, and we have a first-time home buyer program. The first-time home buyer program, to be eligible for the program the credit union offers, you have to have never owned a home or not owned a home in 3 years. If there's two borrowers on a loan, only one has to meet the requirement. There are some programs out there that are good, but both borrowers have to meet the requirement. So you could compare that with our program. You might qualify for less if the second person can't be included. So, you should look at everything out there, but only one borrower has to be a first-time homeowner. It's suggested that you have a 620 credit score. I'm going to cross out the word suggested and say minimum, but I don't need, the credit union is quirky. We give everyone the same rate. But if you require private mortgage insurance, and if you're listening to this and you're a first-time home buyer, my guess is that you have a lower down payment, because the prices have gone so high. You might have student loan payments that you haven't been able to save 20%. And hardly any first-time home buyers have a normal payment that we would expect, maybe between 3 and 10% for a first-time home buyer. So you will have PMI, private mortgage insurance, on your loan. And even though the credit union offers the same rate to all members, the private mortgage insurance companies are going to charge a much higher premium to a member with a 620 credit score. Now, helping people build credit is one of the things that we do well. So, we recommend, we have a lot of resources to help you get your credit up. And that is the first place to start, I think, if you're really thinking about home ownership, is get your credit in a place where your PMI payment is going to be reasonable. Example, 620 credit score could have $400 a month PMI payment. That's a deal breaker, maybe. Whereas a 730 credit score might have 100. Well, you can live with that. You know it's going to go off the loan. You know your property's appreciating. So I urge you to really work on your credit scores. And if you finance with another lender, a 620 credit score will not get the same rate as a 760 or 730 credit score. At the credit union, you do, but just in the broader market, that's not going to happen. We have guidelines for your debt to income ratio. So we're going to look at your gross income, and we don't want all your debts on your credit report. The minimum monthly payments is what we're talking about, to exceed 43% of your gross income. there's rules around part-time jobs. There's rules around self-employment. So what income that would be qualifying income, we could tell you if we spoke with you. If you made an appointment with one of us, we'd be happy to review all this with you. Now, this program, our first-time homebuyer program, is available for single-family, condominiums, townhouses. It is for multifamilies too, but the down payment requirements are higher on a multifamily. So we're really focusing in on the single, condo, and townhouse. So let's go to the next slide. What are the benefits of our first-time homebuyer program? So every year, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, the government-sponsored entities, set the loan limit for which they will buy a 3% down loan. And that's been going up every year. I think it's going to moderate next year, but last year it was around $647,000. This year there's a huge bump. So you could buy a single family condo or townhouse for about $748,000 with 3% down. So that's a pretty substantial amount, I think. We do give you $500 discount to closing costs, a credit, and if you meet certain HUD income limits, you will get an additional $500. And we give you 1/8 off the rate that you see posted on our website each day. Now, there is a subset of our first-time homebuyer program that my colleague Sharon Cummings is going to talk to you about now that we're really excited about, because housing affordability has become a policy issue on the national level, and Fannie Mae, these government-sponsored entities that really keep the housing market going, are really, really focused on getting everyone the opportunity to become a homeowner and giving additional discounts to low to moderate income borrowers. So I'm turning this over to you, Sharon, to explain about our Home Ready program.
Thank you so much, Helen. I just want to go over what Helen went over today was the first-time homebuyer program at the Harvard Credit Union. We're going to focus in at this point at the Home Ready program. Home Ready program is a program that the credit union offers through Fannie Mae. It's geared to low to income borrowers, low to moderate income borrowers, I should say. So there's some eligibility requirements that we will go over, and I'm going to touch upon those. The first 3 bullet points, Helen had kind of talked about it in our first-time homebuyer presentation owner. The 3 bullet points: buyer has never owned a home or has not owned a home in the past 3 years. So to be part of the Home Ready program for eligibility, you have to be a first-time homebuyer. If there's 2 borrowers on the loan, one of them have to be a first-time homebuyer, and that is not owning a home in 3 years. Suggested credit score is the same. We suggest 620. However, I would highly suggest, if you don't know what your credit score is, or you want to work on your credit score and try to get it up there, reach out to one of the originators at the credit union. We're more than happy to go over the credit and try to help you get that score up there. So when you do actually apply for a mortgage, and we do have to have PMI, your premium will be less expensive. As Helen said, it can be on a 620, it could be up to $400 a month, and someone on a 720 could have maybe $100 a month. So it's a huge, huge savings. The eligibility for this product is income. Your income, we go by the area median income. In Boston, it's $106,000. So what does that mean? It means that your income level cannot exceed $106,000 on a single person. If there's 2 people, combined income is $106,000. So we will not, you cannot exceed $106,000.
Sharon, you're on mute.
Just now, or did it just happen?
Yeah, just now, just took
Okay.
a minute. So you can repeat what you just said. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I don't know how that happened. Okay, so income limits are important for this program. $106,000 would be the median income for the Boston area. And as long as you make under the $106,000, that's another eligibility requirement for this program. We do request, or we require you to take a Fannie Mae Home View course online. It's a free course. It's about maybe an hour and a half to 2 hour course that will go over the whole home buying process. There's a lot of valuable information that you're going to get from this program. At the end of the course, you'll get a certificate, and that you will need to be eligible to be a home ready mortgage borrower. You can have a non-occupant co-borrower to help if you need income to help support the application. However, if we add a non-occupant co-borrower in to help, that person in your income cannot exceed the $106,000. For the 3% down home ready program, we're strictly on single family homes and condominiums or townhouses. 2 to 4 unit properties are we can absolutely do a home ready program with that. However, you do require a higher down payment. A 3% down program would not work with a 2 to 4 unit primary residence. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, so the most exciting part of the home ready program is the benefits. So we talked about the credit union having our own first time home buyer benefit, and we give $500 credit towards closing cost. If you are qualified and you fit into the home ready program, you'll get $1,000 off closing costs. So we give an additional $500. So versus $500, you'll get $1,000 off your closing costs, which is a great credit to put towards all the expenses that go into taking on a mortgage. The private mortgage insurance premium is discounted because you're a home ready borrower and you've taken the courses and you've met all those guidelines. So you'll have a discounted private mortgage insurance premium. Your interest rate will be reduced by an additional 1/8 off. So as we said, the first time home buyer at the credit union automatically gets an 1/8 off the rate. Part of the home ready program, you'll get an additional 1/8 off. So that's 1/4% off the interest rate, which is great because especially with the rates increasing and the way they have been, 1/4% is a substantial good amount to have off your rate. I'll touch on border income. This is something I would say you might want to sit with one of us at the credit union, one of the originators, and kind of talk about this a little bit because it's a little bit involved. However, just to kind of explain it briefly, if I can, border income can be used with the home ready program. Border income cannot be used with our own first time home buyer program. So if you're in this program, the first time borrower, home ready program, met all the guidelines, if you have somebody that's going to be living with you, sharing mortgage expenses, sharing housing expenses, we may be able to use their income to help qualify you. You do have to provide a 9-month to 1-year history of them paying you monthly. So this would be a situation, is it 2 roommates live together, the one roommate who's looking to buy a home in the next 6 to 9 months are on the lease, the roommate is paying that person monthly, $500 every month, and it's documented. So you can come back when you're ready to move forward to buy a home. We can see a history that you've been receiving income from this person for the last 9 months, 12 months, however long, to give us history. So we can use some of that income to help qualify you as well. Okay. Next slide, please. Okay. And as we talk about buying a home, there's many resources out there for low to moderate income. There's many resources out there for no down payment assistance programs, or for lower down for just down payment assistance, programs. Mass Housing is one. Mass Housing Partnership, one. Mortgage is another, and FHA loans is a huge. You see a lot of perks with the FHA loans. They do offer a lot of benefits for first-time home buyers. If you do come meet with one of us, we'll go over, what the credit union can do for you, but we'll also provide you resources of, what's going to be best for you in your home ownership. If we don't have a product here that suits what would benefit you, we're going to, direct you into a direction to help get you there and get you with the right person to help you to meet your needs. Okay. Next slide, please. Okay, and this is just the website of the credit union. So when you go onto our website, you're going to see the products we offer. We talked about fixed rate mortgages. We offer adjustable rate mortgages. Today's program webinar is geared to fixed rate mortgages only. First time home buyer with a 3% down program has to be a fixed rate loan. But we do offer adjustable rate mortgages And we also, longer term, shorter term loans. On our website, you can set up an appointment to schedule an appointment at any one of our branch locations. If you choose to come in, one of us would love to meet you at the branch, sit down and go over the programs and, talk about home buying. Or you can schedule a Zoom call with us or just a phone call where, we're welcome anytime. You can do fill out a pre-qualification, pre-approval application online, and we'll, somebody from the team will reach out to you and kind of go through the process as well. Okay, thank you. Okay, now I'm going to turn it over to Antonia Finley from the City of Cambridge, who's going to give you a ton of information that I think will be extremely helpful. And thank you all for your time.
No, thank you. Thank you so much. Just for the so I wanted to begin by stating that, or really just thanking the credit union team for having me. It's just such a great opportunity to reach a large audience, the Harvard audience, so Harvard community. So thank you. Next slide, please. So I'm going to discuss some of these city programs. I'll discuss the city's programs. We'll talk about our first-time homebuyers class, our homebridge program, the resale pool, and lotteries. Next slide, please. So just to begin, I'm loving these sessions. I believe that you are only a first-time homebuyer once, so you being here and just educating yourself about the process, I think is definitely key. The city does also offer a first-time homebuyers class. It is a CHAPA approved class that stands for CHAPA stands for the Citizens Housing Planning Association, which is a quasi-state agency. We have a seal of approval from them. Our class is free, depending on where you take it throughout the state. It could run up to $125. We do an 8-hour session, so it meets 2 hours per week. Upon completion, you do get a certificate that if you're eligible for special mortgage products that were mentioned here, generally the lender will want to see that you have taken the class, or if you're applying for lotteries, you generally will have to show some kind of proof that you've also taken them. Next slide, please. All right, so let's talk about the affordable homeownership opportunities here in the city. The city has different programs for affordable buyers that really target different income levels. The first one that I'll talk about is the Homebridge program. It's a program where the city can provide financial assistance to you where you can shop on the open market here in Cambridge. Then there is the homeownership resale pool, which is kind of, the city has a portfolio of over 500 units that have a deed restriction. And then generally, as these units turn over, we can offer them to someone in the homeownership resale pool. Then there's lotteries that apply to new units. And then, of course, there's always a ton of opportunities outside of Cambridge. You could go to the CHAPA website, chapa.org, the city of Boston. So wherever you're looking, it's always good to look at that municipality to see the resources that they may have available. So what I did just want to say about the next slide, I'm going to talk about, I believe, the home ownership restrictions. So these restrictions that I'm talking about apply to all three programs, whether Homebridge, whether the resale pool, or the lottery. So if you are buying an affordable unit, it's really important that you understand the document that you'll be signing. I'll always, anybody who's buying through our program, I talk to them about them, but we also encourage you to have your attorney to talk to you. So if you buy an affordable unit, you're going to sign an affordable restriction at the time of the purchase. Just it's important to understand that this restriction is permanent. It does not expire and you cannot pay it off. The residence that you purchase, it must be your only residence. The price is restricted and does not have the same, it's not tied to the market value. So it does have a lot less or slower appreciation versus if you bought a market unit. Upon resale, you do have to notify the city. We will give you ask you for documentation, we'll give you your price, but we have the first right of refusal. So we could either purchase it or have you sell it on your own. And when I say we, it's generally one of our designees, and all of your mortgage financing must be within the affordable value. So if somebody bought and they were looking to refinance in the future, they could, but we would look at what the affordable value is. Okay, next slide. So we're going to talk about the Homebridge program, which is a really exciting program. It's a program that I want to say we rebranded about 3 years ago. Maybe it's been about 4 years ago. It is a program that you can, where the city can provide financial assistance to help really bridge the gap between what you qualify for and what the market rate is. And we'll talk about those numbers in a second. Next slide, please. So the Homebridge program is open. It assists home buyers with incomes that are from 60% up to 120. So I would say it's kind of like our moderate to middle income program. Approved buyers will be able to purchase with the assistance of a realtor on the open market here. For eligibility, you would either need to be a Cambridge resident or someone who is employed full-time here in Cambridge, okay? It does, as I mentioned, it provides financial assistance to bridge the gap between really what you as a buyer can afford and the cost of market rate homes here in Cambridge. There is no waiting list. We just got a huge allotment of funds. This program has been super successful. So I mentioned that you would be responsible for finding your home. And it's just really important to understand that Homebridge funds are not the buyer's down payment. It's a permanent subsidy that stays within the unit. Sometimes when I'm working with lenders, they understand it more as, a down payment, but it is not something. So if the city gave $100,000, it's not like you could just say, hey, you know what, I'm tired of this restriction. Here goes, the $100,000 back. It doesn't work that way. Next slide, please. So these are some of the guidelines. You can also find this on our website. The way that HUD, but I do think it's important for me to explain, the way that HUD has us look at households is we have to count each individual, even if that individual does not provide income. So a couple would be a two-person household. Similarly, as a parent and a child would be a two-person household. The way that we look at income is based off of your gross income, and we project it forward. If you were self-employed, then we would look at 2 years of your net income. But this just shows the range of income that is that we are able to assist. The program only used to help people up to 100%, which is that middle number, but the city council maybe like a year ago expanded it up to 120. So, which is great. It's definitely available to help folks or more folks at a higher income. Next slide, please. So this is so people will always say, well, Antonia, what are the prices? And we have our maximum market prices for a 1-bedroom. It's up to $605,000. We can give up to 40%, which is the $242,000, and so forth on these numbers. What I would say is that everyone's numbers are definitely different. Sometimes when I do sessions like this, people will go to their loan officers and say, hey, the city has this great program, and they're going to give me $242,000, for example. And I would say until we see an application, we're not exactly sure how much we can give. So there's a bunch of guidelines that your income needs to at least, or your mortgage needs to at least be 25% of your income. So there have been times that between a person's mortgage and down payment, for example, for a 1-bedroom, they had to come up with $400,000, and we gave them the difference. So everyone's numbers are definitely different. I would say if you're exploring this program, it's always best to approach it in completing the application first, submitting the pre-approval at your maximum, right? Not taking in account for our assistance. And then if I need to adjust the numbers, we definitely will. Next slide, please. So I guess the last thing I did want to say, but I'm going to talk about the resale pool, but for the Homebridge program, it does start with an application. We do ask for different documentation. You do need to submit a pre-approval. Once you are approved, you have a letter from the bank, you have one from the city. You can go out with your realtor and find something. Once you find something, you would be required to have a home inspection. The city, we would go out to take a look at it. And then you know, of course, you're going through the process with the attorney. They would talk to you about the restriction. And at the closing, I would come with the funds and also the affordable deed restriction. All right. So let's talk about our other program. It's called the Home Ownership Resale Pool. It is kind of like a one-stop shop where you can put in one application and be considered for a number of opportunities for them for this program. The way that we divide the pools is by your income, there's bedroom sizes, there's preference points. Cambridge residents definitely do get top priority in this, but we accept applications all the way to non-residents. So if you're interested in just understanding how that preference point system works, you can definitely go to our website, which I'll give to you guys at the end, and take a look at that. For this program, a mortgage pre-approval is not required to apply, okay? Next slide, please. This is the income range. It targets people from 50 to 100%. So I would say more to low to moderate. You could decide like, hey, you know, I want to apply for Homebridge, which is our program where you're really ready to hit the ground running. And I also want to wait into the resale pool and see what kind of comes up. Okay, so you're definitely able to do both. We do have a liquid asset limit that is $75,000, which does not include restricted accounts like your 401ks. If you're a senior or disabled, that limit is $150,000. Okay, next slide, please. So let's just talk really quick about the process. So on how this works. So as I said, the city has a portfolio of over 500 units that have a deed restriction. So the owner, let's say the current owner there decides to sell, they write the city and the city decides to exercise our purchase right, and we price the unit. So then what we do is we go to our resale pool where people have put in one application and they're, you know, added into their respective pool based off the time and date that they apply. We add them to that pool. So they're added to that pool, but we go to different pools. So we go to the highest ranked pool. So let's say we had a 1-bedroom. We would go to Cambridge residents first. We would send them the information out via email, which includes a virtual tour and the opportunity for 2 open house dates for them to come and look at the property. Let's say we invite 100 people. Let's say only 50 people show. So interested buyers who see it are able to submit an offer form. Then at that time, they'll have to give us a pre-approval and update their income just to make sure that they're still eligible. So homeownership opportunities become available at different price points, but you know, so we want to make sure they're eligible for that opportunity. So let's say 50 people, we invited 150 people came, only 20 people decided to put an offer. We would review all of the offers, and the person out of that group who had been in the pool the longest would have the opportunity to move forward with that opportunity, which means that, you know, we would talk about banking, the restrictions. So I would work with them really from the introduction of that property up to the closing. Next slide, please. All right, so lotteries. Let's talk about homeownership lotteries. Lotteries are only offered when new opportunities or new buildings are being developed. The city of Cambridge has an inclusionary zoning ordinance, which really means if a market developer builds here, a certain amount of those units need to be affordable. They cannot say to the city. So what happens is they send us their plans and we'll take a look at them and they will propose the affordable units. And generally we will do, the planners in our office will do a square footage test and we'll say, no, we'd like this unit, and we'll negotiate with them on these units, okay? These units are, sold for a fraction of really what the market price is. So that's one of the ways. And the developer cannot say to us, hey, I have some really great lower level units. Those are the affordables. Our units are a representative of the building. Another way that opportunities are created through lotteries are through all affordable development. So we'll work with one of our nonprofit developers and we'll try to bridge the gap, of what we don't see being built in the larger market. So these new buildings, when we work with our all affordable developments, are all 100% affordable. We have units, they may be larger units, they could be, I'm just trying to think, we've had hearing impaired units. So it's where we, so we'll work with, we'll work with our nonprofit developer to make those opportunities available. Generally, next slide, please. So applications for lotteries are really project specific. That meaning that if we're not marketing any opportunity, you cannot apply for a lottery opportunity. We will, the best place to find them is there is an email notification sign up that you can go to our website to be informed of them. If you're not on that list, you can easily go to our website to see what's available because it will always be listed there. But we'll use social media, the newspaper, community groups. We will market the opportunity through schools and so forth. We'll always specify the units available, their location, the bedroom sizes, their costs. We will also do an information session so people can learn about them, see the floor plans. After the deadline, they're screened using our eligibility and city preferences. The highest applicants who have the highest preferences will make it to the lottery and have the opportunity to purchase. Next slide, please. All right, so I know, and I will be here definitely for questions. I know I went through that pretty quick, but I did just want to let you guys know this is the email to our office. It's homeownership@cambridgema.gov. If you have any questions, there's also our website, cambridgema.gov / if you just went housing, it would go straight there. Twice a month, we have information sessions where our staff, our rental staff, and also our homeownership staff will go over our program. So if you find that you're like, hey, I'm curious about the rental opportunities offered through the inclusionary zoning ordinance, you can definitely attend one of those sessions. Or if you'd like to know more about the information I covered today. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Antonia. And a lot of that information is in the chat. And wanted to remind everyone, please continue to put all of your questions in the Q&A. And thank you, Terrence and Migdalia in the background, as well as Ryan answering a lot of the questions beforehand. And in addition to our MLOs who we have today, we have other MLOs. They've been here all week, just really sharing their expertise with us. So now we're going to move on to the questions. One of the questions is, if taking a home buying class, will this only work for the city of Cambridge, or will it work for anywhere you want to buy?
That's a great question. So our class, it will cover throughout. It will cover really the state. So if somebody were any other CHAPA approved class, so yes, it's good throughout the state. So let's say you were looking to buy in the city of Boston, then you could use our certificate. There is only one exception though. Our class is not a HUD approved class yet. Our agency is not a HUD approved agency. I have passed the test but we are still in the application process. So if somebody was looking for a HUD approved class, then I would say that they would need to do the home ready or, through another agency. But if somebody were looking at, otherwise, our certificate is good for most of the mortgage products.
All right. It's 1:45, so we have a lot of time left. So please continue to put your questions in the Q&A. We have another question. On the last slide, you mentioned a new development, lotteries. Is there a website that lists the developments?
So lottery opportunities in the city of Cambridge are pretty project specific, meaning that, we only will market units or put things out there that we're ready to sell on behalf of the developer. I'm just trying to think of what may be upcoming. So we recently last year completed a lottery process. There was something right outside of, and of course it's like I can't, of course I can't remember the names of them right now, but we had something right in the Inman area and then something right outside of Porter Square. So hopefully we'll have new opportunities that are available, but I would just say the slide that I showed, or if you went to our website and signed up to be notified of our opportunities, that's a great way to find out about new opportunities. But I would just say most of our production lately has really been through Homebridge, which I was super busy during the pandemic. So real estate continues, even continued definitely during that time, and our resale pool. We see a lot of turnover in that way.
And of course, I wanted to remind everyone, this is being recorded and it will be on our YouTube channel at My HUECU. So if you've missed a portion of this or you want to play it back just to get some of that information, will be available to you next week. And then we're also putting that information in the chat. Our next question. Thank you for this workshop. Question: would seniors and retired persons be eligible as a first-time home buyer for pre-approval?
I can answer that question. Absolutely. Anyone who has not owned a home is eligible for first-time home buyer. And if you have owned a home in the past, you can still do pre-approval to buy your next future home. Everyone's eligible. Set up a time and we can go over, details and get you that pre-approval you need.
Okay. What does City of Cambridge consider as the first-time home buyer? Someone who never bought a home before or someone who didn't own a home in the past 3 years?
We use the federal definition, which is somebody who's never owned a home or somebody who has not had an ownership, a stake in home ownership in the last 3 years. So if somebody, let's say they owned in 2000 and they sold in 2010, we would consider them a first-time home buyer.
Okay.
As long as they didn't currently, I'm sorry.
No, that's fine.
No, as long as they currently didn't have an interest. Sometimes people will confuse it. So I'll have someone who currently owns and they're like, well, it's been 3 years, can I get another opportunity or is there another opportunity? And usually it's just 3 years without, being 3 years without ownership.
Okay. If you are employed at Harvard, but at school/unit not located in Cambridge, for example, the Longwood area, do you still qualify for these programs under the employed in Cambridge specification? And thank you for clarifying.
I would ask that person to reach out to me just because I just want to make sure I fully understand it. And sometimes I want to make sure I definitely answer that correctly. So you can definitely reach out to me and I can definitely answer that question. I just want to understand it a little more.
I think they probably meant if they're not actually the physical location because the university is so large, like they might be at the, closer to, I guess, physically in Boston, but they're not physically in Cambridge. Maybe they want to know if they're still qualified. But her information is in the chat for that person who wants that question. The next one is the resale pool application seems to need to be mailed in. Can you provide where this application should be sent to?
Sure. Our office is 344 Broadway, 3rd floor. Cambridge, Mass. 02139. And can I just say something just about the other question? Sometimes, so people, I will get questions all the time that people are like, hey, and I know it's a little different. People will say, hey, this is my situation. Can you tell me if if I'm eligible? And I always, want to make sure that there's not something I'm missing or, missing, just to make sure I give them the correct information. So.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. If my partner owns a house, but I'm a first-time home buyer and we enter into this process together, are we eligible for first-time home buying program? And that could be Ryan, Helen, Sharon, anyone.
Yeah, I can answer that. So as long as one borrower is eligible, with what we discussed, never owned a home or no ownership in the past 3 years, then absolutely, you guys are going to be eligible for those first-time programs.
Right. Do I need to take a home buying class and get a certificate first?
Well, I'll answer that. This is Helen. Well, for the home view course, we do recommend that you get the certificate as soon as possible. And I believe it would be good for a year. So you don't have to, but it's really recommended. And it's recommended by Fannie Mae that the borrower, before you enter into a mortgage application or purchasing a home, that you've taken this course and gained the knowledge in the course. So as soon as you can, hopefully, the people that have taken it, even though it says it takes 2 hours, I've had people produce the certificate in like 45 minutes. I don't know if they cheated or what they did, but I think it can be done in less time, if you really, don't have that much time, or you can start it and finish it not in one session, I believe. But we'd like it done as soon as possible so that you can be armed with questions for us and for your realtor, and have the best base of knowledge that you can have when you enter into your transaction.
I've taken it, and you can take it online as well. It goes by really quickly because it's interactive and they have different people, sort of like what we're doing right now. And then the certificate, I believe it expires in 3 years. So you have plenty of time. Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much, Helen. The next question, thanks so much for the session. I was wondering if any of the panelists have some insight about available programs for folks who might be above the medium income limit.
Yep, I'll answer that question. Yes, Helen went on about the first-time home buyer program, and that's for anybody, and there's no income restrictions for that. What I talked about was the Home Ready program, and that does have income restrictions, but first-time home buyer can be anyone in any income level. So we certainly would do pre-approvals. You do get the benefit of being a first-time home buyer. You get the 1/8 off the rate. You get the $500 credit. So yes, there's many programs out there, and I would say reach out to any one of us, and we'd be happy to go over it with you.
All right, thank you. Can I rent part of the property after I buy a home through the Home Bridge program?
Could you please repeat that question? I'm sorry.
They want to know, can I rent part of the property after I buy a home through the Home Bridge program?
Unfortunately, they would not be required. They couldn't do that. So it is, the goal of the program is really to have, people who would like to stay in Cambridge. So it is not meant to be an investor opportunity, or that I would say for any of the programs that the city runs.
Okay. I'm considering buying a home in DC with their IZ home programs. Can I put that program and combine it with others at HUECU? I'm not sure what the IZ home program is. Perhaps you guys are aware of it.
Inclusionary zoning.
Okay.
So it's almost just like there's a set aside, a number of set aside units in a market development that are affordable.
So can they combine it with any programs that we have here at HUECU?
As far as combining them with HUECU, we're limited to only lending in the New England states currently. So DC would be out of our market right now, unfortunately. But definitely check back. We might be expanding. So, in the future.
All right. Keep the questions coming, everyone.
Dominique?
Yes.
Dominique, it's Helen. I wanted to add something to what Antonia said about that they can never rent the property under the city's program. Under the
Mhm.
Home Ready program that we offer, you have to intend to occupy for 1 year, but you could rent out the property after. And I know, there are some really good, other good first-time home buyer programs, but they do require that you live in the property. They prevent you from renting. So that's maybe one comparison point of Home Ready versus some of the other programs. Like the One Mortgage is a program that they spoke with us on, and we know you have to live there, period, while you're owning this property. So if you're thinking of maybe renting, the Home Ready program might be a good program in the future. So you have to think a little ahead of it when you decide.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Where can I go to take classes or information on the class?
So at the credit union, we offer home buying sessions just as, we are doing that today. We do offer the Home Ready course, and anyone can take that regardless, if you're, income levels. It's great information. And I think Antonia probably could provide some great resources on classes that offered through the city of Cambridge. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so I would just say that our classes, if you went to the City of Cambridge's website, the cambridgema.gov/housing, you could sign up for a class. We are doing our classes through Zoom. However, you could also go to the larger CHAPA website, chapa.org, and they offer classes in a number of different communities. Some communities are offering in-person classes. So yes, that would be a resource for it.
All right. Our next one, can the panelists collectively share their general reflections on the market and house hunting experience for low to modest income buyers right now? Everyone has been encouraging, but the numbers and the reality of the market, interest rates, and low inventory seems particularly daunting for the first-time home buyer with limited means. I think they're looking for some good words of encouragement, myself included.
I would say, when I went through my presentation, I talked about the Home Bridge program. I also talked about the home ownership resale pool. So I just would say, apply to as many things as possible. It's just like having more than one thing burning on the oven. So, I would just say, really look at all the opportunities that you may be eligible, for, to see what may happen for you first. That's what I would suggest.
I would want to add, we know it's challenging. We're not trying to sugarcoat it, but it's not impossible. You may have to expand your thinking. For example, we've had people that are looking at Providence, Rhode Island as a more affordable community than Boston, and then have to decide, is it worth it? Can I commute? Is my job remote? Portland, Maine is another area that I've seen a lot of people looking at. Or be creative. I'm not trying to say this is easy. I know it's not, but I had two people that worked together, and they both were paying rent of close to $2,000 each. So they decided to buy a 2-bedroom condo together. Now that has its own challenges, because you have to think about, well, what if one person wants out after a certain amount of time? How is this going to be handled? So you meet with an attorney, and you kind of flush that out ahead of time. But people are getting creative like that, multi-generational living, expanding the list of communities, or reducing, your requirements for square footage. I mean, there's a lot of different things. I do think that the market is friendlier, not in the interest rate sense, but in the sense that a lower down payment is more well received now than 2 years ago. There was no chance because of all the overbidding, the cash offers and everything. So I think, it's important to have a realtor too, to tell you, this is what I can afford. Well, you could consider this or that or this, and that might not meet. You might want to live in the city regardless, and you're not going to go for it. But I think you have to try and look at a lot of options and be open to different things to become, a homeowner. rather than wait.
Thank you. For those of you signing off, we are going to be hanging on to answer questions for others. So please, continue to keep those questions coming. And those of you logging off, we want to say thank you so much for joining us today and spending your afternoon with us. We will have a lot of the information in the chat for you, and as well, like I said, this is being recorded, and we will have it on our YouTube channel at My HUECU. And I wanted to also, just a disclaimer, we are just giving you some really great information. So just really talk to your financial person, another MLO, and they can kind of get you started, let you know what your financial picture looks like, so you can get on the path of home buying process. And we also have a survey, and Terrence or Migdalia will put that in the chat, and that's huecu.org/survey. But we will be taking questions. We have extra time, and definitely please stay in touch with us. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and watch our YouTube channel, give us a like, and we're going to stick around, continuing to provide you more information and answer your questions. It's just a lot of information, so we want to make sure you get it right and that you're on the right path. So for those of you hanging around, we're going to continue on and answer a lot of your questions. The next question: if you've taken a previous class, for instance, a Home Buying 101 through a local CDC, for instance, do you have a sense of whether the content of the other programs mentioned today is duplicative in any way?
I'll speak on that a little bit. Absolutely, there's going to be some information that's repeated throughout the process, but I say everybody has a different way of approaching home ownership, and you could talk to 3 different people and get a wealth of information, and some may give you, something that you may not have heard on the last call. I always say the best thing to do is take the courses. They're not that long. And I think it's a huge benefit for anybody, because it's going to give you some information that you did not know. I promise that. So I would say it will be repetitive, but I guarantee there's information that the previous course did not go over.
And I've taken them twice, in person before COVID and recently. So it does go by fast, and some of it is repetitive, but it's really more knowledge, the better. You're armed and ready to go.
Yeah. And one other thing is the market changes so quickly that, even for us, we're keeping up with the market. And 6 months ago, I might have had a presentation that may not be the same as this, 6 months later, because everything's changing so often. So I say it's the best is just take the course, and you'll definitely benefit from it.
Absolutely. Thank you. Another person put, how much awareness does HUECU have of out-of-state affordable options? I live in Vermont. Would I have to do my own research, or do you keep abreast of programs in other states like the wonderful Cambridge, Massachusetts resources that we've discussed today?
I can go ahead and answer that. So, I mean, Fannie Mae Home Ready, you can use that out of state wherever it's available. I just know off the top of my head, though, for Vermont, they have a program, VHFA, I believe. It's like they're kind of state-run programs here. HUECU wouldn't be able to lend on it, but I mean, you could go right to their website and kind of get all the information. And believe it, yeah, VHFA is what it is for Vermont.
All right. Thank you, Ryan. Again, everyone, continue to just send us your questions in the Q&A. We're here to help you answer them as much as possible. We've been here all week, really answering, telling you, breaking it in bite size, so that breaking it down for you, so you can really understand what you need to do, getting your team together. And a lot of our MLOs are here to assist you. Helen, Sharon, Ryan, Daisy, Mike. So they're here to help you as well. And we have a lot of that information in our chat, and Antonia's really helping us today in terms of affordable housing, because it's a maze. I'm in that maze and it's not fun, but I'm empowered because I have this great team here giving me all this great information to really kind of get myself forward. So I really appreciate you guys for being here. Let me see if there are any other questions here. Let's see. All right, we don't have any other questions. So Antonia, Helen, Sharon, Ryan, thank you so much. And a shout out to Terrence and Migdalia in the background, really helping everyone, filling in all of these questions. And again, please go on our YouTube channel if you've missed a portion of the presentations that we've had all week. Everyone have a great weekend. And all of you who are still here hanging with us, thank you so much. Have a great weekend. And, don't go on our website for any questions, and we're here to help you. Take care, everyone. Have a good one.